Um, yeah, it's an interesting topic because it's controversial, and each person has their own specific perspective on it. There's also a lot of misinformation out there. The American Constitution states that each state should have its individual rights to make its decision for itself.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the decision of the Supreme Court was to honor the American Constitution. It was not to decide positive or negative on the perspective of abortion, but to let the states themselves
Yes.
decide what they were comfortable with.
Mhm.
Um, and personally, I think that's the right decision because that provides so-called red states with the opportunity to make red decisions and blue states with the opportunity to make blue decisions, and provides a variety of different perspectives. Um, if you're a Christian, you should live on one side of the fence, and if you're not, you should live on the other side of the fence. Um, it is uh, interesting, shall we say, uh, on that. And person, personally, I think it's down to individuals and families what they want to teach their children about those topics. Um, um, I'm I don't class sexual education in the same way that I class history or modern studies
Mhm.
or geography or art or sport or languages or accounting or any topic which I think has important intellectual value. Um, I don't. it's it's an individual physical activity for people. I don't see where that fits in the classroom, to be honest. Um, and I think that there's a lot of what I would call the over sexualization of society, um, through all forms of media, whether it be magazines or music, or we all see what's happening on the covers of magazines. Sex is used to sell. Um, Look at any modern pop video. Sex is used to sell. Um, and look at the way that films and television are orientated towards those ideas. Um, I think there's no more reason to study that than there is to study a tree. you know, what we need to learn, we can learn quickly and move on. There's there's no need to specifically focus on the topic for a longer period of time. I don't think it's a very deep topic, to be honest. It is a life affecting topic, um, but it's individual. If you, I always thought it was interesting the Christian perspective that if you abstain, you don't have a problem, right? If you don't sin, you're not a sinner. That, yeah, there's different ways to look at it. I mean, there's many different reasons why people go to church, right? They don't, the society, community, business, whatever, um, and social pressure. There's many reasons that I've seen why people go to church, and the Bible itself teaches that prayer prayer should be done on your own in your own time. Not that the prayer of community is not effective, but what would if if God sees everything that you do, then He knows, right? He knows whether you pray in private or not, and um, there are many who would use the cover of Christianity. Yeah, the situations you describe are very interesting. Uh, I'm not logical fallacies and obvious contradictions. A liberal Christian, it's just it's like so it's like it's like oxymoronic terminology, right? Christians are supposed to follow specific rules. You can't be liberal in those rules, right? That's the you break the rules of the game, you get sent off, right? You can't be liberal in the rules of the game. The game has rules, for sure. And if you look, you're never going to become an alcoholic if you don't drink alcohol. It's very simple. Yeah, I'm not saying good or bad or right or wrong. I'm not saying drink alcohol or don't drink alcohol. I've drunk a lot of alcohol in my life. I don't drink now. I'm abstinent. I have been for a large part of my life, and I can only speak for myself and say the quality of my life is improved by such actions. And yet the liberal element of Christianity is in fact to understand that everyone is a sinner and that all people have their own struggles. That is the liberation of understanding that everybody has a pain, everybody has a problem they have to deal with. And that's the liberal element. The real liberal element of Christianity is not in being liberal with the teachings, it's being open in your understandings. And I think a lot of people have mixed up the liberal concept and principles by thinking liberal means that to do whatever you want is okay. The Bible teaches that in fact is sinful and to not be Christian. So, and yet this is just one perspective. And everybody's going to have a different interpretation and a different perspective on the same thing. We all watch the same film and take different information from it. We all read the same books and take different information from the same books. We can go to the same meeting as people and take different information away from the meeting, which is what makes everything so complicated. But yeah, there's, and as you pointed out, there's a difference between education about human biology and sex education, right? Because we're all for education about human biology, right? Understand how the body works and functions. Absolutely necessary. Beyond that, I mean, I don't. You can't escape biological function, so we shouldn't try to ignore it. Our needs are essentially biological needs, and so we begin to understand that first, and yeah, there's other questions and other elements, and there's slippery slope arguments, which are that most negative transformations of society are gradual. They're not visible. Like the shade of paint on a wall changing by 1% over a year. You will have a green wall at the beginning and a blue wall at the end, and you will not notice the transformation between the green and the blue. The same way that fat people get fat without realizing they're getting fat. I'm not saying that getting fat is bad. I'm saying that, it's a daily habit that builds up into something else. And so we have to beware of gradual incrementalism, that the slow transformations are the most dangerous because they're very hard to reverse. And I think there should be a class in school called biology where people study what we know about the science of things. I think children learn very quickly in society how everything happens and works. There's also the danger of mystification and demystification. Yeah, you don't want reality to be an abstract fantasy either. Still, it's down to each individual parent This is who to decide. What am I going to teach my children? When am I going to teach it to them? And there are things that we like and don't like about the way that other people parent their children. But it's not our job or role to tell them right or wrong. It's only our job or role to be liberal. I don't like that word, but liberal in our understanding of the fact that
Mm-hmm.
there are many ways to cook. To cook, there are many ways to bake a cake. And so even we said the road to hell is paved with good intentions as well, right? We all try to do the right thing. It doesn't always work out the way that we want it to, even though we believe that we're trying to do the right thing. Yeah. Tough topic. It is. It's a very difficult topic to go into in depth and still be
Mm-hmm.
still be friends with people.